Welcome back.
Hey, Stanley,
Yeah, George?
how'd you like your own TV show?
Hey, I got something to mail you out.
Oh, you be careful now, you hear? Before you go and say something you're gonna regret for the rest of your days.
Like what? Like the wrong kid died?
Oh, no!
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Wrong Podcast Died. I'm Brian.
And I'm Rod.
And continuing our saga of April showers bring May flowers, we are covering the 2017 Oscar-winning science fiction love story with bestiality, The Shape of Water.
Yeah, let's get wet.
Yeah, oh yeah, there was plenty of that. So released December 1st, 2017.
So I'll give you the rundown on this one. So rated R, runtime of 2 hours and 3 minutes, stars Sally Hawkins as Elisa Esposito, Octavia Spencer as Zelda Fuller, Michael Shannon as Richard Strickland, Richard Jenkins as Giles, and then the amazing Doug Jones as Amphibian Man, but directed by Guillermo del Toro.
They call him Amphibian Man?
Like on IMDb, that's his credit. I didn't notice in the movie.
Yeah, I saw that in like the credits, but yeah, they don't have a name for him in the movie. So it's Sally Hawkins. She's a mute cleaning lady. Her coworker, her neighbor, who has a bunch of cats, and I gather is a homosexual man living in the is it the 50s?
Yeah, sounds like the 50s.
Set during the Cold War in Baltimore. Those are your main players on the good person side. On the bad person side, there's a scientist who's a Russian, so he's considered bad, but he's not really bad.
No, not really.
And then the army man. I guess if he's in the army, I don't know.
That's Michael Shannon, and Michael Shannon plays a good asshole.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever need an asshole in your movie, you want Michael Shannon.
Yeah, or Brian Gotzel. Him too. He plays a good
asshole. Did you know that we actually covered a movie already with Michael Shannon in it?
No, what was it?
It was Groundhog's Day. He was the young couple that got the WrestleMania tickets. That was like his first movie, basically.
Yeah, I remember that now. So set in Cold War era Baltimore, a mute janitor working in a secret government lab forms a deep emotional bond with a mysterious amphibious creature being held captive. As their connection grows, she risks everything to help him escape from a brutal government agent. I mean, that's pretty much the movie. It is a little over 2 hours long. I cut it up. I watched probably 3/4 of it last night and then the rest of it today. I think most people that listen to this show have heard the funny story about how I took my children to this movie. My son Jack and my daughter Cooper think, it'll just be like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It'll be fine. And then Sally Hawkins' character, Alicia, is masturbating every day before work.
Beginning of the freaking movie.
Yeah. So every day. She sets a timer for it.
Yeah.
So, of course, she's mute. She was attacked as a child. We come to find out her coworker who speaks for her a lot because she can't talk.
And the one thing with the scars on her throat, I don't know if it ever was explained what happened.
Yeah, they just said she's been like that. She was found by the water as a baby.
Yeah.
They bring this amphibious creature. You don't know what it is at first, but you find out it's along the lines of the gill man from Creature from the Black Lagoon. And she forms a bond with it. It's being tortured. The government's using it to find out about space travel and lungs and breathing outside of water, in water, all of these things. That's what they say they're using it for.
Yeah. Government says something that they're doing and they don't mean it? What?
Yeah. I think that's what they are doing, but I think in the long run, they're just hiding it from the Russians because they don't want the Russians to know either. That's the way I gather is they care more about keeping it away from the Russians than actually learning from the creature.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically is a retelling of the Creature from the Black Lagoon in almost every sense, except that there's more of a villain in this one than there was in Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Because he's just an officer or just a hired gun. He doesn't have military fatigues. He doesn't have any bars. The general comes in and talks to him. He doesn't call him sir. They never salute each other, really.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like CIA or FBI or something, but it's never really said. But yeah, he's in charge of that facility until, unless somebody else hired, like the general comes in.
That's Richard Strickland is the name of that character. And you come to find out he has a weird thing for Alicia. because he doesn't like when his wife talks. Another weird sexual encounter,
Yeah,
you know. Just,
that was crazy.
yeah, because he wants her mouth covered and
And he puts his
rotting hand over her face.
because the creature bites two of his fingers off towards the beginning of the movie. And then, yeah, he gets it reattached. He goes home. Wife gets frisky, and they're doing it. And yeah, he wants her to shut up.
I think she even says your hand is bleeding. So it's bleeding into her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very odd film. It looks amazing. The sound's amazing. The creature's freaking awesome. The acting's great. I'm just a little off put by the weird sexual stuff in it.
Yeah, and you don't really get that a lot from Guillermo del Toro, from what I believe. I don't remember anything but this.
What I've seen, yeah, I don't feel like it's in Pan's Labyrinth. It's not in Kronos that I remember. It's not in a lot of his other stuff.
Have you seen the new Frankenstein 2 that came out last year?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
There's no sexual tension or anything like that in there that I remember, but yeah, it is a little weird. And you know where Sally Hawkins is from, right?
I mean, I've seen her a million times, but I just can't put what she's well known for.
The most recent is actually your favorite movie of last year, Bring Her Back.
Yeah, and she's amazing in that too.
Yeah, she's such a gorgeous woman too.
Yeah, but in a
Plain Jane.
Yeah, not in a supermodel way. She's just attractive.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, she was really good in Bring Her Back. And he wrote this role for her, with her in mind. I think he was like, I want her and I don't want anybody else.
Yeah, I actually found some trivia there. Yeah, it says not only was she the first choice, she was the only choice. I wrote the movie for Sally. I wrote the movie for Michael even. I wanted the character of Alicia to be beautiful in her own way, not in a way that is like a perfume commercial kind of way, that you could believe that this character, this woman, would be sitting next to you on the bus, but at the same time she would have a luminosity, a beauty, almost magical and ethereal. That was a quote from Guillermo.
Yeah, and I mean the cast in this, I don't know that you could cast this movie any better.
Yeah, Octavia, I believe, had already won some kind of an award prior to this. So, I mean, and she was over the hill to work with Guillermo.
Yeah, I mean, and she's been in Ma, which is a horror movie. She was in the one about NASA where you know what one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it's African American women, and they are the ones that pretty much solved the issues the spaceship was having, so it was able to get to freaking the moon.
It was something with mathematics, I believe.
Yeah. Who's the actor that plays her neighbor?
So that is actually Richard Jenkins.
And you've seen him in a ton of stuff. He's great too.
Yeah.
And he's got the voice that he does to the narration.
If I spoke about it, if I did, what would I tell you? I wonder.
And that's some of my favorite parts, that narration at the ending with he's telling the story and he's talking about him and he's reading the poem.
The only thing that comes to mind is a poem whispered by someone in love hundreds of years ago, unable to perceive the shape of you. I find you all around me. Your presence fills my eyes with your love. It humbles my heart, for you are everywhere.
That's just chef's kiss stuff right there. That's stuff that we put clips in podcasts because it's so good.
Yeah, there is so much social commentary during this whole movie.
Yep.
Whether it's about sexuality, being gay in the 50s, race.
Yeah.
With Octavia's character, the Strickland character treats everyone like shit for the most part.
Oh yeah, he's just a typical. I don't even know how to say it and be politically correct if you can, but
not necessarily like white supremacist, but very prejudiced.
Almost to that level though, because everybody's below him. He uses a lot of language that's like, ugh. I mean, the one guy goes to the diner to get key lime pie, and it's got to be awful because he has 80 pieces in the fridge, but he goes because he thinks the waiter is attractive and kind and nice. Well, we find out he's not. He tells him not to come back because it's a family restaurant, and he won't let the African-American couple sit down. You can get something to go.
Yeah, not at the counter, yeah.
I don't even think he let him. He just said, you can get something to go, but then you got to go. So he wouldn't let him sit anywhere in the restaurant.
Then he does his little line,
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Is it Baltimore not? I mean, is that kind of southern or it's kind of on the edge there?
Well, it's not really southern, but it seemed to had some southern roots. If you've seen the TV show, I believe it was on NBC, it was called American Dreams. Brittany Snow was in that one. Girl who's now doing horror movies. She was in the movie X, Ty West X, and then she was in that Prom Night, kind of a remake, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But that was also a commentary on racial tensions because that was about the same time that this took place, because the father worked in a TV store and he had a black employee, and the black employee's son went to school with the Brittany Snow character, and there was tension, like they couldn't be together at certain points. Yeah, this is the time period where a lot of places in America, even some places in the North, were still had a lot of racial tension.
We've come a long way as a country, but it's still sad to think that that kind of stuff happened and probably still happens, where people just can't be themselves and have a dinner and sit down and eat and not be bothered.
That seems to be the message, like throughout the movie, is that trying to, you're different and you're trying to find your way, fit your way into something else. But
yeah, because there's all of the main characters are different. I mean, Sally Hawkins' character is different. The neighbor's different. Zelda would be considered different. The Russian guy would be considered different. The amphibian man is different. The only one that would be considered not is the military or the CIA, Strickland.
There was a quote I had to get down. They're cleaning the men's bathroom. He washes his hands before he pisses.
Yep.
And then he comes and she hands him a towel. And this is what he says.
Oh, no. A man washes his hands before or after tending to his needs. It tells you a lot about a man. He does it both times. Points to a weakness in character.
And I was like, huh? That's just disgusting, dude.
Why wouldn't you just wash them afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I don't know. He's very odd character.
There was also, with the color green, was a big theme in this. I'm going to guess it's because of the Gilman kind of thing. But you had the candy that Strickland ate was green. You had the key lime pie. You had the Jell-O mold that Giles, because he was an advertisement dude that did art. It was originally red. They told him turn it green because that's what they want. And then there was
his Cadillac was teal.
Strickland's wife made a Jell-O mold green. It's just throughout the movie, it just kind of gets thrown at you a little here and there.
Yeah, I would imagine you could go through the movie and find 8 million things that are green. Red sticks out a lot. The red of the blood of the monster and just in general. I almost wonder if that's a social commentary too on the bloodshed that would be happening during this time period in this country's history.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look into a lot of things in it and be like, that's what this stands for. That's what this stands for. But I mean, people loved it and it won a ton of awards and it made money. I mean, it made $195 million at the box office on only a budget of, I think, like
19.4. Yeah, less than 20. So basically 10 times.
Which is crazy to think this cost $20 million. And you see some of the budgets, some of these other films, and you're like, this had to have a huge budget, right?
You would think so. Damn. I mean, that suit alone had to cost like most of the budget.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know 20 million is a lot of dollars, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem to be in Hollywood money.
Like we said, this is 2017. I mean, this is pre-COVID, so theaters were still kind of booming by then, but
90 awards and over 250 nominations across major film circles.
Wow.
Despite its fantastical story, it's grounded in themes of outsiders, identity, and communications without language. You see that a lot too, because the creature starts talking to her. You can imagine a parent taking their kids to see this and Jack maybe 10 years old. And Cooper's maybe, I don't even know how old they were, but I was just like, what the hell did I, what the fuck?
Yeah.
God.
It's how amazing this movie really was, is that I saw after seeing the trailer, Kevin Smith tweeted out this. He says, seeing something as beautiful as this makes me feel stupid for ever calling myself a director. Kevin Smith, who's made some of they're not garbage movies. He has a lot of like commentary, a lot of smart dialogue and everything for the most part, unless it's Jay and Silent Bob movies, but
that ain't like us at all slapsticky and shit, run around like a couple of dickheads saying, what's that shit he got us saying?
Oh, snoochie boochies.
Snoochie Boochies. Who the fuck talks like that? That is fucking baby talk.
Even he loves this.
I feel like if this was on TV, though, you could watch this and it would be great.
There'd be a lot cut out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of the violence, but I mean, it would be kid friendly then. It'd look pretty and everything.
One last piece of trivia that I had found was that when the movie was screened at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2017, the screening was held in the Elgin Theater. That's the theater that's in the movie.
Really?
People who were in that theater watching this premiere were in the theater that the movie was showing.
That's interesting.
That's pretty crazy.
The only other fun fact I had was Del Toro actually pitched a remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon to Universal, where the creature and the woman end up together. They turned him down, so he went off and made The Shape of Water instead. And what do? Do we rate it first?
Let's rate it, yeah.
This is a damn near perfect film. I mean, other than the little weird sex thingies, it's not a 5 out of 5 to me. I mean, you know, my existent bane of hating movies that are super long. And it's not super long, but there's some parts I'm like, I don't need the little story here or there. But a 4.85 out of 5 creature penises. Where she's like, you see her hands and she's like, she does this thing with her hands and it's like opening a little closet door and a little thing pops out. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, she's like, you didn't. How? Why? Zelda's asking her, like, why? And she just has this biggest shitty grin on her face.
Yeah.
She knew something was up. So, yeah, what would that make it? Like a 4.9?
Well, 9.7, I think.
Yeah, 9.7 out of 10 if we we're doing it up. But, I mean, damn near perfect movie.
I had seen this, I think, a year or two ago for the first time. And I was only doing it because I had a month where I wanted to watch movies that were kind of Universal Monster ripoff in a sense. And this really kind of is. But I don't remember. I mean, I liked it sort of, but I didn't really think of it as some great thing. But before this recording, like I usually do with 2 watches, and it just got better for me on each watch. So I am going to give it a 5 out of 5 slices of key lime pie. I noticed more of the commentary of the symbolism and the acting, like especially after seeing Bring Her Back, seeing Sally Hawkins in that, because the only big thing, I mean, she's been in a few things, but Paddington movies she was in, I'd never seen those. So I never had any other reference. But yeah, this one, 5 out of 5 for me.
Do we go to the podcast network now?
We could, or you want to do this or that?
Oh, let's do this or that.
This or that. This or that. This or that. This or that. It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it out of sight.
So from 1933 or 2005, or even the one from, was there one in the late 80s? King Kong. You know, there was that King Kong like in the late
70s, I think, yeah.
An ambitious filmmaker leads an expedition to a prehistoric island where they capture a colossal ape. Though the beast is feared by all, he forms a protective bond with the actress Ann Darrow. His eventual transportation to New York City as a theatrical attraction leads to the tragic clash between nature and civilization. It's King Kong. We all know King Kong.
I mean, it's been told several times, and I think that was like, yeah, that one from the late 70s was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. From 1986, The Fly. I don't know if this is a love story, though. Brilliant scientist Seth Brundle successfully tests a transportation device on himself, unaware that a housefly has entered the pod with him. As his DNA begins to merge with the insects, his girlfriend Veronica must watch his grotesque transformation, trying to preserve the love they shared. I guess it is a love story, but that one's just kind of gross.
It's a lot different than the original.
Oh, yeah. Help me, help me. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954. A scientific expedition to the Amazon discovers a prehistoric amphibious gill man living in a remote lagoon. The creature becomes obsessed with the group's female lead, Kay, leading to a tragic tug-of-war between the scientist's desire for study and the creature's desperate, misunderstood longing for connection. And then there's The Creature. There's 3 of those movies, right?
Yeah, 3 of them. There's the creature, is it Returns and Amongst Us? The Creature Amongst Us?
Yeah, something like that. From 1990, a film we've covered before, Edward Scissorhands. A gentle artificial man left with razor-sharp blades for hands after his creator's sudden death is discovered by a kind Avon saleswoman and brought into a candy-colored suburban neighborhood. While initially finds fame for his talents, his forbidden love for a local girl highlights the cruelty of a society that fears anything it can't understand. Sounds pretty damn close.
Yep.
From 1946, Beauty and the Beast. In this surrealist French masterpiece, Belle's father is sentenced to death for stealing a rose from the beast's garden. Belle takes his place, discovering a world of living statues and enchanted objects. As she spends time with the tormented beast, she begins to see the tragic, poetic soul hidden behind his terrifying exterior.
They made a movie in the 40s of that?
Yeah, it says 1946, because at first I was like, that's got to be the Disney one. Then I was like, no, that wouldn't have been that old.
Yeah, that was like 90s.
And then from 2006, and only because it's another Del Toro movie, and I love it, Pan's Labyrinth. In 1944 Spain, young Ophelia moves into a military outpost with her sadistic stepfather. To escape the brutality of her daily life, she enters a dark, decaying underworld guided by a mysterious faun. She must complete 3 dangerous tasks to prove she is the long-lost princess of a magical kingdom. I don't remember any of that. I just remember the beasts and the awful wartime stories going on in it.
Yeah, because it's Spain, right?
Yeah, but it's during World War II, and it's the German. I think her stepdad's a German asshole, and he's not very nice to her, and he's not very nice to her mom, and some horrible things happen in the movie. It's a hard watch.
A lot of Del Toro's movies, though, are very dark.
Yeah, just kind of like our podcast network. They're dark too, right?
Very. Let's hear from them.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
So now that we've heard from the podcast network, what do you got for us, Roderick?
Well, in news, December 11th, Saudi Arabia announced an end to its 35-year ban on cinemas as part of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030 social and economic reform package that he created. The move aimed to modernize the kingdom's diversity and economy, and it allowed the entertainment with the first commercial theater opening in April of 2018. This plan, it aimed to establish over like 300 cinemas with over like 2,000 screens. So, I mean, there was going to be multiplexes in there by the year 2030. I don't know where it's at right now, but it was projected to add $90 billion to their economy. And the first film they screened to break the ban was Marvel's Black Panther. So that's like a huge commentary right there.
It wasn't The Shape of Water?
No, sorry.
Oh, God. I can't imagine this film is showed in Saudi Arabia anywhere.
Right, yeah. And then my last piece of news, on December 14th, the Vatican Museum identified 2 figures in the Hall of Constantine as the last paintings of the artist Raphael. Not the Ninja Turtle.
What was this?
Yeah. Created just before his death in 1520. Rediscovered during a 10-year restoration, these allegories of justice and friendship are notable for being painted in oil, setting them apart from the surrounding frescoes completed by his students. So you could tell it was Raphael's just because of the oil paint he used to do it. So Yeah, that's pretty freaking amazing because, I mean, if you put those things on auction, I'm sure it goes for hundreds of millions, if not
more.
Yeah. Well, and then let's go to the movies of December of 2017. And I got the week of December 22nd of 2017 because it was a wider release. And number 5 was Ferdinand, which was like an animated bull.
Yep. Star John Cena was Ferdinand.
Yeah.
We like that one.
The number 4 was The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Number 3, which we just kind of mentioned one of the characters in it, Pitch Perfect 3 with Brittany Snow in that. Number 2 was Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. And that's like the second in that trilogy with The Rock and Kevin Hart. And number 1, Star Wars, The Last Jedi, which would be considered episode 8.
Lame.
I've seen that first one that came out for the third trilogy. I have not seen the rest yet.
Yeah. We liked Ferdinand. They love The Greatest Showman. Finley loves that movie. Oh, yeah. I was on every day for 3 months straight. No, I mean, it's pretty good, but I mean, the music's good. I mean,
and like we talked about in The Waterboy, though, a lot of family related kind of movies, you know, like family could go to see these movies. There wouldn't be much controversy, I wouldn't think.
What'd you have for horror films? Anything?
Yeah, I found 3 horror movies that came out in December 2017. Now, this one was actually originally released in Vietnam before anywhere else in 2017, which is weird. It's Day of the Dead Bloodline. And the synopsis on this is a small group of military personnel and survivalists dwell in an underground bunker as they seek to find a cure in a world overrun by zombies. This is kind of like Day of the Dead prequel in a sense. And I never quite figured out if the zombie that's the main character in this one, is that supposed to be Bub from Day of the Dead?
Yeah, I don't know.
You haven't seen this one yet, huh?
No, I don't think so. I've seen the cover for it, but...
The next one I found was Once Upon a Time at Christmas, which actually spawned a sequel in 2019 called The Nights Before Christmas. I seen this. It's kind of a independent film. I did not like it, but synopsis on this is when a serial killer couple dressed as Santa and Mrs. Claus terrorize a small town, a teen girl and a young cop must solve the pattern behind the seemingly random homicides. It's a messed up, like no story kind of movie. And my last movie was actually released in the Philippines on Christmas Day. It's called Haunted Forest. And the synopsis on this is Nika is a daughter of an investigator who passes a forest and hears the whispers of the Sit-Sit, a monster haunting the woods. Slowly, strange things begin to happen to Nika, the same weird happenings that have killed other girls who have seen the monster myth. So this is an Asian film, of course, and it sounds like a lot of fun to me. Like if you like a good monster, foreign mythology kind of film.
Oh, it's a slow month, though, it seems like in December for horror stuff.
Yeah, not a lot going on, no.
Which, I mean, it is December, so you're going to get your standard family-friendly Christmassy movies and stuff people can go to on Christmas Day and watch.
What do you got for TV, Brian?
So TV news, big news. Host Matt Lauer was suddenly fired on November 29, 2017 from the Today Show, part of the larger Me Too movement spreading across Hollywood and media. I can't remember what he did, but he did something he wasn't supposed to, if I remember right.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. It was something sexual, though.
Yeah. Of course, network TV versus streaming was a big thing, and the streaming wars were starting. So traditional ratings were slipping, and streaming was kind of taking off. You know, shows on Netflix, and were becoming culturally relevant and big hits. Award season was starting to build. The Handmaid's Tale continued its cultural impact. I didn't realize it was that old. The girls at my work talk about it all the time. And then this was the time that Roseanne was coming back. was confirmed, and ahead of its 2018 return.
And she got kicked off like almost immediately.
Yeah, she didn't last very long. And then, of course, the top TV shows of the time, Sunday Night Football, The Big Bang Theory. It was one of the last true mass audience sitcom hits where people were watching it and talking about it.
In the vein of like Seinfeld and Friends.
Yeah, Friends and stuff like that. This Is Us. And the interesting thing about that is the guy that was the actor on the show, the one brother.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh, there's the one brother who was the actor on the show who's also on Jack Reacher, the TV show. He's speaking at the local college this year for their commencement speech, Knox College.
Oh, nice.
Then The Walking Dead. And Stranger Things. Season 2 had just dropped in October, and it was one of the big hits.
And they went from like 12 to like 16
in that season.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Season 2 was in 2017, and we just got, season 8?
5, isn't it?
Hell, I don't know. But it just wrapped up the show with less than 5 seasons. Crazy.
What do you got for sports?
Sports. Let's see. Major storylines. The season was about a month in the NBA, and of course, Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors rivalry still loomed large as the expected finals matchup. Of course, trade rumors with Anthony Davis, who's traded every year, was being linked to a lot of teams. It was that superstar era where there was guys teaming up. One of the other big things was Shohei Ohtani. Where's he going to end up? The hot stove stuff that happens every year in baseball in December. Who's going to be traded? But that big one was, where's Ohtani going to land? And of course, he's gone on to end up with the Dodgers and win several World Series and MVPs. And in football news, there's that big fallout that they're dealing with the national anthem protests, the players kneeling on the sideline. So that was a big deal for a long time. And of course, the NHL season was in full swing with expansion teams like the Las Vegas Golden Knights being really good. It's crazy to think they've been around that long. God dang, yeah. So not a lot going on in sports, a lot of rumors, a lot of early season stuff. NFL playoffs are making a big push, but not too much going on.
All right. Well, we'll go to music next. And I have one piece of news before I get to the top songs. On December 20th, Lady Gaga signs a 2-year deal in Las Vegas for $75 million for 74 shows at the MGM Park Theater, which is now the Dolby Live. So she got one of those big residencies that like Elton John's done. I believe Billy Joe has. Several of these big acts go to Vegas and get these residencies for a few years. And we'll go to the number one songs because in the US and the UK, Perfect by Ed Sheeran was number one.
We were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time.
You like that one?
Ed Sheeran?
Sharon?
Ed Sheeran? Yeah, Ed Sheeran.
The ginger.
Yeah, that guy. I thought you said Edge. I was like, the wrestler?
You think you know me?
On this day, I see clearly.
Edge, yeah. And the number one R&B was Rockstar by Post Malone featuring 21 Savage.
I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a rock star. All my brothers got that gas and they always be smoking like a rock star.
I don't know that song. I don't really know much of Post Malone.
I don't either.
Yeah. Number one country is Light It Up by Luke Bryan.
I always got it on me, just in case you want me. So if you're looking for my love, then light it up.
I've heard that one, I think.
Number one alternative is Up All Night by Beck. This must have been when Beck was making a comeback or something. Because wasn't Beck the one that was big in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
And the last one, the number one dance track was Woman by Kesha. I don't know that one
Yeah,
either.
I know who she is, but I don't know that song. I forgot to tell everybody who the WWE champion at the time was. AJ Styles. I think he defeated Jinder Mahal or later in December that year. And AJ Styles just retired. Had his final match on WWE 9 years later. So
Yeah, oh wow.
crazy, yeah.
He didn't really retain that title for very long, did he?
I don't think so.
He kind of got screwed.
Oh yeah, he's one of the better in-ring technicians, and I don't know what happened to him in WWE. He's always been strong in the locker room and a great wrestler, but he never really got that big push that he deserved.
Right. It seems like we've talked about this before. Like I kind of griped a little bit of how they have all this talent and they don't know how to use it. And these are established talent. AJ Styles has been around for decades by the time he got there. I mean, it was pretty close to 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, but I'm not in charge of anything. So,
what do you got for toy news?
So, holiday 2017 Fingerlings, the toy of the moment. They were about $15, and they're just those small interactive robots that go or wrap around your fingers, and they respond to touch, sound, and movement. I think there were like different animals. LOL surprise dolls with blind unboxings with multiple layers of surprises. They were a huge YouTube hit, and kids loved the mystery opportunities and elements.
I still see those at Walmart.
Oh, yeah, they're still around. Hatchimals and Hatchimal Surprise. Little interactive creatures that hatch from eggs, still right in the massive 2016 craze into 2017 with new versions, keeping them in high demand. Of course, Barbie and her dream house. One of the biggest ticket items that year. Hot Wheels were coming with a big push from movie tie-ins like Spider-Man, Star Wars, Transformers, the Nintendo Switch, Legos. Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of issues with the Fingerlings. They were $15 and people were selling them for the hundreds and thousands.
Wow.
Resellers buying stuff and reselling it. A lot of counterfeit versions of popular toys appearing. Authorities even warned parents about unsafe knockoffs. Purchase limits were being enforced because a lot of stuff was selling out. So it kind of goes in waves. Like there's some ooey gooey, I don't even fucking know what's being sold right now, but kids are going crazy about it. I don't even know what it is. I'm sure one of the listeners' kids is like, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I got any. I'm going to beat you up. Take it.
Well, no births during this time. So maybe in another 5-10 years, somebody famous will come about that was born at this time. But hey, let's get to everybody's favorite segment, 6 Feet Under with Rod.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Knocking on heaven's door. Maybe 6 feet is so far down.
On December 21st, Captain Bruce McCandles II, he was an American aviator, electrical engineer, and astronaut who made the first untethered spacewalk in 1984. He died at the age of 80. So he lived a good life. And yeah, I mean, I never really thought about that because they were always tethered to something. But yeah, I think he had that jetpack thing so that air push, he could get to the ship if he got pulled away. And my only other death that I found somewhat interesting was Heather Menzies Urich. She was a Canadian actress and she played in some pretty big, well, things that we would recognize from like the 60s, 70s. She was in The Sound of Music, but for horror fans, she was in Piranha 1978 and from 1973, the Snake movie. And she also appeared in the August 1973 Playboy edition.
Yes! Ooh la la! Ooh la la!
She died of cancer at the age of 68. So, yeah, not a lot that I could find for deaths, but yeah. And I have only one joke. I'm going to try to keep it easy on you guys. Why did the creature break up with his girlfriend?
No idea.
He said she was too shallow and he needed somebody who understood his deep, murky emotions.
Time for bed.
Yeah, sorry. Well, at least the creature got some.
Yeah, well, that makes two of us.
Yeah, not 3.
That marks the end of our broadcast day here at The Wrong Podcast Died. Our transmission is powered by a frequency of 800 watts. We will resume our usual programming in 2 weeks. Until then, we bid you good night.